You are with the big story here. I'm Seher Zama. We're getting in breaking inputs. This development that is coming from the Supreme Court today, having upheld the death sentence of one of the convicts. Nirbhaya's lawyer speaking. Let's take a listen in.
जेल मैनुअल है कि उनको जब रिव्यू डिसमिस होगा, जो भी उनकी प्ली सुप्रीम कोर्ट से डिसमिस होगी तो उनको 7 डेज का टाइम दिया जाएगा मर्सी फाइल करने का। यहाँ क्यूरेटिव की कोई बात नहीं हुई है, यहाँ मर्सी फाइल करने की बात की है।
आज यहाँ क्या होगा?
आज यहाँ पर देखिए 2 चीज़ें हैं। एक तो ये जो 7 डेज का टाइम की बात हुई है सुप्रीम कोर्ट में, तो पहले डीजी ने, तिहाड़ डीजी ने इनको 7 डेज का ऑलरेडी टाइम दे चुके थे, जो टाइम इनका लैप्स कर चुका है। तो अगर कोर्ट उस ग्राउंड पे हम लोगों को सुनती है तो डेफिनेटली आज भी डेथ सेंटेंस के एग्जीक्यूशन का ऑर्डर कर सकती है, लेकिन अभी मर्सी जो बिनाई की है उसका फाइनल कोई भी रिजेक्शन का हम लोगों के पास अभी ऑर्डर नहीं आया है। जी,
अगर पब्लिक की भाषा में समझा जाए तो कितने दिन में ये जो दोषी है वो फांसी?
देखिए, मुझे हम ऑन वर्ड ये कुछ नहीं कह सकते कि कितना दिन, फिर भी हम उम्मीद कर रहे हैं कि कमिंग जनवरी जो है 2020 में जनवरी में ये मैटर पूरी तरीके से ये क्लोज होगा और उनके डेथ सेंटेंस के एग्जीक्यूशन का ऑर्डर हो गया। ओके, थैंक यू सो मच।
Okay, there's a possibility that absolute final word on the hanging here, the moment of the hanging that could still take some time, could even come in earliest by next month, which is January 2020. Nirbhaya's parents have reacted to this development here as well. The mother has spoken out. The parents, remember, have kept absolute patience and dignity in the face of this absolute atrocity and multiple delays posed by the counsels of the convicts here. Let's take a listen in.
वो रिव्यू करे थे तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने मौका दिया और सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने उनका सुना, इसके बाद फैसला दिया।
और अब उनके लॉयर ये बोल रहे हैं कि वो क्यूरेटिव पिटीशन भी फाइल करेंगे, वो प्रेसिडेंट के पास भी जाएंगे। इसके बारे में क्या बोलना चाहिए?
देखिए, अब उसका टाइम उन्होंने गंवा दिया है, 1 साल पूरा बैठ के, क्योंकि 18 महीने रिव्यू तीनों की खारिज हुए हो गई। इनके पास 18 महीने टाइम था रिव्यू करने का, क्यूरी करने का, इन्होंने नहीं किया। जेल ने 7 दिन का डेट नोटिस किया था कि इसमें 7 दिन के अंदर सब मर्सी पटिशन जिसको करना है कर लो, इन लोगों ने नहीं किया, तो ऑलरेडी इन्होंने टाइम खत्म कर दिया है। और उम्मीद है कि अब इसी पे इन लोगों का डेट जारी।
7 साल हो गए हैं, कि आपको लगता है कि आज इस फैसले से इंसाफ हुआ है?
बिल्कुल लगता है, क्योंकि इंसाफ के एक कदम और नजदीक हम पहुँच गए।
हम लोग का इंतजार ही नहीं, आप ही लोगों का भी इंतजार था, पूरे देश का इंतजार है और हम देश के इंतजार के एक तरफ और आगे बढ़ गए हैं। हम जानते हैं, हम सोचते हैं, हम समझते भी हैं कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने जो फैसला दिया है बहुत समझ बूझ के दिया है, सब कुछ किया गया, लेकिन जीत आखिर सत्य की हुई ना, जीत सत्य की हुई।
Let's get in further inputs. We have with us our Deputy News Editor Meenakshi Banja getting us those details on what this development means in the Supreme Court here today. What are the available legal options that have been exhausted now by the convicts in this case? Meenakshi, does this mean this is an absolute finality to this case here? The moment of the hanging by death is closer.
Well, yes, absolutely, Seher. It is certainly one step closer. All these tom-toms and the brouhaha surrounding curative that is now being floated, it is not so simple and easy to file a curative in the Supreme Court of India. In order to be able to file a curative, what is imperative is for someone to show that an irremediable harm has been caused, which needs to be corrected. For that purpose, you also need the attestation or the signature of one eminent senior counsel in the petition. So given the fact that today we have seen the word of the Union of India through the Solicitor General, who went on to tell the Supreme Court as to how this is a case which does not even warrant 10 minutes of the court's time. And not just that, he went on to state as to how maximum of the pleadings now being made by AP Singh, the counsel for the convict Akshay, is something which has already been dealt with, considered and adjudicated upon on earlier occasions. And this is a cut, copy-paste job which should be dismissed in its entirety. So when a state puts its might to a certain matter, Seher, the courts really apply a lot of seriousness to that. And given that backdrop, whether they'll be able to get one eminent senior counsel to put the signature to the curative is anyone's guess. It is highly unlikely. So in that backdrop, what now becomes imperative is the matter is being considered by the magistrates court in nearby Patiala House court premises in a short while from now at around 3. We've been given to understand. So the magistrate will be brought up to speed with the developments here in the Supreme Court as to how this was the last of the review which the Supreme Court has considered and also gone ahead and dismissed. Subsequent to that will be the process of issuing of death warrants. That can happen perhaps today or that can happen very soon in the foreseeable future. And after that, the convicts will have the option of moving a mercy plea before the President of India. But the President, remember, Seher, is aided and advised by the Council of Ministers or the Government of India, and the Government of India's mind today is known on the subject. So yes, this brings us one step closer towards the final execution of the death sentence.
That's right, Meenakshi, but given that it just brings us another step closer, there's still a couple of stops left here. This could still be an excuse for the Council of the Convicts to be exercising available options. Is that the case here? If Nirbhaya's parents have gone to the Delhi court, the district Delhi court here, on expediting the hanging of all the 4 convicts, if we get in a word from that, will that be the final word? We're looking at how many more stops really to this case?
Sir, you know, this is a judicial process and this is an offence dated December 2012 which has cleared all these tiers of judicial scrutiny. The first tier was the trial court basis where the matter was expedited. Then came the High Court where again the matter was expedited. Then again came the Supreme Court of India which sat on Saturdays to clear and expedite the hearing and deliver the final pronouncement of the verdict. Then last year was the open court review of the other 3 death convicts which the Supreme Court considered and dismissed. Today was the open court review of the 4th convict who is Akshay, where the Supreme Court again conducted a 40-minute hearing today itself and pronounced the verdict today itself at around 1:18 or 1:20 in the afternoon. So this is expediting of this issue which everybody understands is of critical importance, which is why we also heard from the solicitor. The solicitor was present in the courtroom and he made a representation for under 10 minutes and he went on to tell the Supreme Court as to how this is a case which does not even deserve 10 minutes of the Supreme Court's time. So all this is adding to the layers or the processes of judicial scrutiny, Seher, which is an essential rudimentary principle of criminal jurisprudence in India, as it is the rudimentary principle of jurisprudence in all democracies where there is rule of law. Because, you know, there is a very sacrosanct principle that even if 10 guilty people were to get away, one innocent person should not be punished. And we are talking about the jurisprudence of a country like India, which appointed even a lawyer for someone like Ajmal Kasab. Remember, he was also incarcerated for 4 years before the final execution of his death penalty happened. So yes, Seher, the matter is nearing conclusion. That is at best what we can say, and we are very close to see the final chapter be played out.
Right. The mood of the nation, of course, here being to wrap it up, to be done as soon as possible, which is what Nirbhaya's lawyer had stated here as well, with still a few more important, imperative stops in the system here. This could take some more time, a few weeks more till the final hanging, January next year. Let's get in a word here. Also, Meenakshi, please stay on with us. We're getting in a word here from my colleague Tanima, getting us those details. Remember, this has been a very closely watched case, but given that it is a lapse of 7 years that has taken place in this case, it is important to revisit each step, each development. Yes, Tanima, please go ahead.
Right, Seher. In fact, we have seen a number of developments. This is a 7-year-long battle for Nirbhaya's parents that we can see. And even now, they haven't really got what exactly they asked for. But at least this review plea, which had been filed by the convict, has in fact been dismissed by the top court. Jumping right into what exactly has been the sequence of events and to refresh the memories of our viewers. If we can see, the incident actually took place on 16th of December 2012. This is, of course, a landmark incident which led to changes in laws in our country, where this girl, 23-year-old physiotherapist, had in fact been beaten up, tortured, gang raped on a moving bus. Following that, of course, we saw there are more details of the incidents where she had in fact been thrown off the bus naked and profusely bleeding. It was a sexual assault case which had in fact shaken the whole nation to its core. A committee was in fact set up to amend rape law for quicker trial. Remember, sir, it was the Justice Verma committee which had been set up by the government soon after this incident actually rocked the country, and there were protests that we saw coming out on the streets. The first ever fast-track court was set up for speedy trial by January 2nd. That is something that we saw immediately in a few weeks' time. And also what happened in March the following year. One of the main accused, Ram Singh, was found dead inside Tihar jail. Of course, the initial theory was that he had committed suicide, but there are still questions being raised even now as to whether or not it was a suicide or something else unto what had happened to him. August 31st, the juvenile was in fact convicted in this case and given only 3 years term. There was also an uproar that we had seen at that point in time regarding the role of the juvenile in this case, who was, according to cops, one of the worst assaulters in this case. But he, of course, since he was found to be a few months short of 18 years of age, got away with a 3-year term. In September 13th, remaining 4 convicts were sentenced to death by a trial court. It was the Saket court in Delhi which had in fact pronounced that verdict, convicting all other remaining 4 accused in this case. The convicts, of course, alleged denial of fair trial, and they approached the top court, where the SC at that point in time stayed the death penalty order which had been given by the trial court. Following this, in December 2015, we've now moved to 2015, where the Delhi High Court in fact refused to stay the release of the convicts. And following that next point that we can go into is that the Supreme Court had in fact reserved the verdict after nearly a year of hearing. So remember that the convicts, of course, have approached different stages of courts, from the trial court to the High Court to Supreme Court. The Supreme Court, in fact, at one point in time heard the case, but then finally on May 5th, 2017, upheld the death penalty of the 4 convicts. Of course, following that, we've seen it's been 2 years since then, Seher, and we have seen so many instances in which the parents have in fact come forward protesting against the fact that once the death penalty had in fact been upheld by the Supreme Court, why is it that it is taking so long for the execution of it? Of course, the convicts also moved mercy petitions, and we are still to hear on what happens to that. And for the moment, what we can in fact see is that this latest review plea, which had been filed by one of the convicts, Akshay Singh, has in fact been rejected, dismissed by the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court had already dismissed the other review petitions which had been filed by other convicts in this case. Seher.
Tanima, thank you so much for taking us through the entire process and the number of options that our justice system provides to convicts in this gruesome case here. They have, of course, exercised and exhausted all options at the end of 7 years that we see today. In another development, this is regarding the option that Nirbhaya's parents have exercised today in Patiala House Court. They are to hear, the Patiala House Court in fact is to hear a petition that has been filed by their parents in December last year, and this is seeking death warrant for all 4 convicts. This is with respect to expediting their hanging. The court had sought a status from the Tihar jail authorities on the pending legal options of the convicts here. One of the legal options today, a finality that has come in from the Supreme Court. So all convicts have exhausted their legal options as far as review petitions are concerned. Our correspondent Alok is getting us further details as far as this petition of expediting the hanging from the parents here is concerned. Alok, all of what has taken place, all of what has developed in multiple courts in this case would be taken into account today at the Patiala House Court.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, sir, it's an important development will happen today. What the court will order in this whole matter. In fact, remember, Akshay's review petition is rejected by the Supreme Court. So only this person has a time of 7 days. So either court will give him 7 days of time, or the court may issue death warrant for all 4 convicts. We remember, other 3 convicts have already exhausted their time. Remember, Vinay, that one of the other 3 convicts, Vinay had applied for the mercy plea before the President of India. So his mercy petition is also been rejected by the President of India. However, the 2 others had not applied any mercy plea before the President of India, so their time has been completely exhausted. So the status of other 3 convicts is completely exhausted if we talk about the time of the mercy plea. But now it's just the mercy plea of Akshay is there, so he can apply for that. So it is very important to note here, and it is very interesting to see here whether the court will, today's Patiala House Court will give him time 7 days, or the court will issue the death warrant for all 4 convicts. Back to you.
All right, this is going to be yet another significant development here. Alok, many thanks for getting us those details. We're going to keep tapping into that once a word there that comes in from the Patiala House Court as well. Well, this is breaking input coming in regarding a CCTV footage that the Times network has accessed. This is from yesterday's violence that took place in Northeast Delhi, where miscreants can be seen violating public property, burning bikes. 6 people in this case now have been arrested. Over 20 people have been detained here as well. And the Delhi police gone ahead, filed 3 FIRs, registered 3 FIRs in this case, based on several CCTV footage that has been scrutinized by the police here. Our correspondent Siddhant is getting us further inputs here. Siddhant, what more is known about these arrests that have been made?
Well, 6 arrests have been made, and at around 2, all these 6 accused will be produced before the Karkarduma court, which is the local remand court of this entire area. Now, what is more important here is that the footages that we have accessed have not been examined by police yet. So police is going to sit for the entire day and examine the footages. We are playing some footages of miscreants. These miscreants can be seen in all the footages of the riots and arson that took place. So these are 8 to 10 people which were those who were prominently taking part in stone pelting, vandalizing. They vandalized bikes, they vandalized police chowki and the buses. So these are just 8 to 10 people. Now police's job is to identify these main miscreants so that we can get to know the entire conspiracy from where it had started. So the guy wearing a black jacket is a main stone pelter, and now police is on a hunt for him. More than 20 detentions have already been made in the case. 6 arrests have been done by the police. Now police is verifying, and raids are still going on in the interiors of the entire area, and several raids are being conducted by police teams. But as far as this entire case is concerned, then 3 FIRs have been lodged by the local police station. Now, police and the MHA suggest us, the sources in MHA also suggest us that, it was a part of a larger conspiracy first. Second, there was a hidden mob. There was a hidden mob which took part and which is responsible for the disturbance and violence. Now, the job of the police is to figure out the entire conspiracy and the...
But Siddhant, of the 6 who've been arrested, they've been identified here. Do they belong to the area, or had they come from outside? Has the police been able to ascertain that? Where did they come from?
Well, they are very much locals of Seelampur areas, and we have also been confirmed that many more arrests are likely to take place by the evening. Now, one thing very important here is that police has not refused the involvement of any politician or a local political party, and they have very clearly said that we are looking into the all angles. So yesterday, the protest was going on in the entire area, and the two top politicians of this area have organized their individual rallies and a bike rally. We have also been told the group of miscreants were roaming on bikes in the entire area and were asking shopkeepers to shut the shops and were asking them to make their way to the road, which is a main road where this entire violence took place. So all these angles are currently being probed, and all the politicians from the area are currently under the lens of Delhi police. If required, they would be summoned, and if any link will emerge in the entire investigation, then they can also be subjected to legal action.
Right, Siddhant, these are inputs, of course, coming in as far as the Seelampur area and the adjoining areas and the violence that we'd seen yesterday. But this is the second FIR in the other case that we're looking at. This is with respect to the Jamia protest, with the Delhi police having filed an FIR against 7 people. These are 7 people who've now been identified, details of which are available. This includes 3 students as well as local politicians. And on the list being former Congress MLA Asif Khan, local politician Ashu Khan. They've been named in this FIR. This FIR also names ISA member, a member from the Students' Islamic Organization, a member of the Chhatra Yuva Sangharsh Samiti, which is the youth wing of AAP, the Aam Aadmi Party. This FIR says that these 7 accused, they were found to have instigated people and provoked students as well.
देखिए 2 एफआईआर दर्ज हुई थी, जैसे मैंने पहले बताया है कि यहाँ पे जो हिंसक जो मॉब वायलेंस हुआ था और जो भारी पथराव और तमाम घटनाएं हुई थी जो अभी सबके नोटिस में है, उन मामलों की इन्वेस्टिगेशन अभी चल रही है और उसमें जो भी उसमें इन्वॉल्व हैं उनको आइडेंटिफाई करना और उनके रोल जांच करना, ये जो तफ्तीश की प्रक्रिया है वो अभी जारी है.
Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has now finally spoken out on this, expressing his concern regarding the violence that had taken place, unfolded in Delhi in the past few days that we've seen. He's urged people of Delhi to maintain peace, also alleging here that the violence has been politically motivated.
इस किस्म के दंगे दिल्ली के चुनाव को ध्यान में रखते हुए दिल्ली के अंदर कराए जा रहे हैं और दिल्ली के अंदर वो लोग इस किस्म के दंगे करा रहे हैं जिन लोगों को चुनाव में बुरी तरह से हार जाने का अंदेशा है. वो हर किस्म के हथकंडे अपना रहे हैं. तो इसीलिए दिल्ली की जनता से मेरी अपील है कि शांति बनाए रखें और जो लोग भी ये दंगे करा रहे हैं उसको समझें और जैसे दिल्ली की जनता ने बड़े समझदारी से पिछले चुनावों में उनको सबक सिखाया था, इस बार भी उनको सबक सिखाना है. सब जानते हैं कौन करा रहा है. इस देश के अंदर दंगे कौन करा सकता है और किसकी ताकत है दंगे कराने की, ये मुझे कहने की ज़रूरत नहीं. आपकी स्माइल भी बता रही है कि आप जानते हैं. जो विपक्ष आरोप लगा रहा है वही विपक्ष जानता है कि कौन करा रहा है.
ABVP student members at a college in Thrissur in Kerala have been assaulted allegedly by a group of SFI activists. This after the ABVP members put up a seminar at the college which was related to the Citizenship Act. 2 ABVP members have been grievously injured. They are now hospitalized. These are breaking inputs as far as the protests in Kerala against the Citizenship Act are concerned. This is on the other side, a counter to that. 2 ABVP members here were in fact putting up a seminar at their college which is related to the Citizenship Act. They were hounded and beaten up by, and this is an alleged report here, and a group of SFI activists. But we're getting in further inputs on what the police is stating with these investigations here. Our correspondent Vivek getting us those inputs here. Vivek, help us understand, what is the police maintaining on this?
See, the police have not reacted to this particular incident. They are still investigating because they have prima facie information that, there was an assault, there was an incident, unruly incident that took place in this particular Kerala Varma college today morning. What we understand from the sources is that the ABVP union had planned to conduct a seminar educating the students out there on the Citizenship Amendment Act. which the SFI students were trying to stop. So they actually warned the ABVP students prior to this and said that they should not conduct this. But the ABVP said that it is their right to conduct this because, as any other citizens, they do have the right to conduct this. And they got the principal's permission. And then when they were about to conduct this particular seminar, the SFI students, around 6 to 7 students, assaulted these ABVP students, and 2 of them were grievously injured and were admitted in a private hospital. Now, I spoke to the SFI president a few minutes back. So what he said was yesterday, the SFI, SFI members were also attacked by the ABVP students and on the same issue. And since they don't have a video footage of that, they don't have any evidence to prove that. But they said that, if this happened as a backlash of what happened yesterday, only after a police investigation and after taking the statements of these students and conducting a probe on this, that we will exactly get to know what has led to this incident and what actually provoked these students to attack the ABVP members in the college.
Okay, right. Vivek, many thanks for getting us those details. And with that, it is a wrap on the show. News and updates that continue for you right here. Stay on with us.